Hi everyone, Dr. Pedram Shojai here with Dr. Sarah Gottfried at the Health Bridge. Hi Sarah.
Hey Pedram, hello everyone.
Hey, so it is holiday season and we have to dedicate a show because we feel like it would be inappropriate not to the holidays and kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly, and things that make us sane and things that make us way less sane during this season, and hopefully help you guys navigate around some of the nonsense and go back to the spirit of what the holidays are all about for health and wellness and green and all the things that would be important to you in life. How does that sound, Sarah?
It sounds great. You know, I feel like the holidays take on this mythic quality in our lives, and I feel like we get away from the intention of the holidays. So maybe we should start there. Like, how do you approach the holidays? What's your intention?
Well, I mean, I'm back to the basics, right? Like, I mean, when we talk about these holidays, we're talking about winter, we're talking about winter solstice, we're talking about hibernation, we're talking about pulling in and kind of going back down. Like metaphorically, if the full expression of life is like summer with, like, you know, leaves out and birds chirping, as we go into the fall, the leaves start to fall. And in the winter, you're just kind of like bare bones, you know, trees and roots, and just kind of pulling it in so you could have the energy to spring forth into the next season. And we've lost that, right? We do this endless barrage of holiday parties and eggnog and presents and lines at the mall and all sorts of nonsense just to go through these rituals that don't make sense. And we mentioned this in the other show just recently. It's like, you know, is that all in the name of baby Jesus? Is that what Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and everything else is about? Or is it about connecting with mind, body, spirit, family, being thankful and really reverent and appreciating the essence of life instead of running around being better consumer drones at the dumb shopping malls? I mean, that's, to me, where the holidays have really gone awry and where we can really affect a course correction by just changing our behavior.
Love it. You know, I feel like the consumer drone piece that just really landed with me, Pedram, because I think that's what bugs me the most about the holidays. I love Thanksgiving. I mean, we're talking about this 6-week period, right? Mm-hmm. And starting with Thanksgiving, starting with that meal of gratitude, which I think is such a powerful way to kick off the holidays. And then that steady march to, as you were describing, you know, the birthday of baby Jesus and how it's really been co-opted and changed by our capitalist culture. And then the New Year, you know, New Year's Eve, and the rush to make resolutions. So my experience through this has really changed over time. As I was hearing you talk about the change in seasons, I'm so glad you started there. Very traditional Chinese medicine of you. Because I love how in Chinese medicine there's this honoring of the seasons and the natural rhythms of the planet and how those are important, you know, embodied for us. And I think that many of the problems that we have are from getting away from those natural rhythms, whether we're talking about the daily circadian rhythm, which, oh, by the way, every hormone is released on, or this, you know, kind of the rhythm of the seasons and not honoring the transition that happens between them. So I'm really glad you started there. That's powerful.
Thank you. And that's, you know, I think that's probably where we can anchor, like as a species, before all of these other holidays and stories came on. You know, we lived and coexisted in this natural environment, and we were just so happy to have had, you know, a harvest that we can live off of in the winter so we don't die, right? And so, like, we've gotten so far from survival and the things that kind of drove our appreciation of the seasons that it's all abstract now, which is a challenge to begin with, a challenge of the modern world. But yeah, I mean, it's so tough watching how stressed out people get over, like, oh my God, I still have 12 gifts to get and I couldn't even find parking for an hour at the mall, and then ba 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 ba. And it's just like, dude, take your life back. I mean, Amazon. You know, like there's so many ways to intercept that energy and transform it. And I always ask, you know, my patients at least, you know, why? Do they need more stuff? Is that what's going to make them happy? What's the intent behind it? And it's just everyone's following this formula that they just don't question. And I'm not like all bah humbug about it, like draw them something, get them something meaningful, get them some seeds for their garden. I don't have problems with people buying gifts. Just don't buy garbage that comes on containers from China that contributed to coal burning and mercury in the water and all this garbage that makes the world a darker, uglier place. And you need to separate those things from the holidays. And I think you brought up a really good point. And this is actually, if I could like geek out for a second, this is the early Gnostic criticism of when, Christianity started taking off and they were like, hey, something weird is happening here, right? And it was about usurping beautiful things with other things. And so, Christianity, beautiful. Judaism, beautiful. All the religions are beautiful. But why the hell is Black Friday a bigger deal than Thanksgiving? Why the hell is stocking stuffing a bigger deal than appreciating, who Jesus was? And so, that's the point I'm making is these elements have intercepted the purity of these holidays, and it's inappropriate and it's bad for our families. And, if we could bring the spirit of that back into the holidays, I think it'd be a lot healthier than any cleanse you're going to do, to clean out your gut when you're so stressed out about, getting gifts for people. I just think that health has been intercepted psychologically way before.
Oh, such a good point. Well, one thing I'd love to do, Pedram, is maybe a Mars and Venus hack.
Let's do it.
Series of hacks around the holidays. And I want to make sure that we capture this point that you're making about, intentionality and really connecting to the real meaning of the holidays. So can you create some kind of hack out of that, that intention that you want for others?
Yeah, let's start with connecting with people, right? What's more important, you going and buying some trinket and sending a picture of your family and your dogs with some trinket to the people in your life, just being like, hey, thinking of you, or calling them up and being like, hey, I just wanted to take a minute and catch up with you and connect, right? And how about next year we all go to, this lake or mountain place and put our families together and enjoy some time together, right? And really connecting with the people in an actual connection instead of this superficial level of throwing stuff at them saying, oh yeah, we're still friends, I'll Facebook you, right? So I really think that the first level is, think of the people that are important to you in your life. And if they're important to you in your life, they're probably worth a phone call. They're probably worth a lunch. They're probably worth having over and spending some time with, because we're isolating and getting lonelier and lonelier. And, that's not necessary. All the technology we have can help us, make a rendezvous and get together. But we're too busy running around trying to buy gifts for people instead of spending time with them.
That is so poetic. Totally love it. But I also have to say, I love those holiday cards. I like getting those cards.
I'm gonna tell your husband, man.
Update. I love those things.
Yeah, I know. I'm taking that stance because I am that guy, and I know people love them. But my job in this is to make you question things, right? And there's a lot of things that my wife and I bicker about this stuff all the time, because I could be like the angry greenie, and I'm trying not to be half the time.
It's true. Okay, well, I'm sending you my holiday card, and I'll call you. So here's number two. Number two. I have all these holidays that I've committed to. Actually, I've said no to more of the holiday parties than maybe any other year, because I'm just trying to protect that downtime that I want to have. You were talking about hibernation and the change in seasons, and I'm finding myself saying probably not more of the time when it comes to holiday parties. So I think I'm going to have this as the next hack, that you want to look at during the holidays, what are you saying yes to? And more importantly, what are you saying no to? And this gets to a point that we've been talking about quite a bit this season about time wealth. And I think for both you and me, it's time that really is our most precious commodity. You're talking about, sharing time with others, connecting with others, the people that you love. And time has become, for me, way more important than money. So I think as you look at the holidays and you look at these invitations that come in, really see what comes up for you if you consider saying no. Maybe it's an an acquaintance, you don't really want to go to their party, you'd rather spend that time with your loved ones, or maybe you feel like guilty or some sort of obligation or resentful about a certain invitation. I just think it's an interesting thing to look at and maybe consider saying no more of the time.
I love that. I'm going to kind of dovetail with that and just give some props to our Southern Hemisphere friends and say, look, take this with a grain of salt, flip it. And, you guys go charge right now. And then, when your season goes in this direction, this advice is for you. But if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and it's getting darker, it's getting colder, seasonally, this is your chance to catch your breath. I mean, I was just doing an interview with one of our guys from the Pacific Crest Trail Association. Great. They monitor this huge swath of wilderness that is there for us to enjoy. We're talking about some of the passes that we did. And so you're hiking with 50 pounds on your back and you're coming up on a pass that's 1,500 feet, already starting at 10,000 feet. And it's going to take you a couple good hours to do. You don't come into that pass at full speed. You slow down, you catch your breath, you see that mountain, say, holy crap. Brace yourself and then start that slog up the mountain. And guess what that mountain is? It's called January. Right? And life boots up immediately, whether it's January 2nd or 3rd or 4th or whenever you get back on it. That mountain of things that you set up for yourself saying, this year I'm going to do all this stuff, it's sitting there. So if you don't catch your breath before you go in, no wonder you fail on your resolutions. No wonder your adrenals give out. No wonder you get autoimmune disease. And so this is it's like the burn rate of how we run so hard, and then the body loses its ability to be resilient. And then we crash under it psychologically or physiologically, and we get sick.
Oh, that's such a good one. It's such a good one. So part of that, I think, is saying no and just getting really clear about your schedule. I learned this, I'm going to dovetail on yours and talk about a really practical technique that I learned from Dan Sullivan, where he talks about taking your calendar and blocking out free days, ideally 2 days a week. And then blocking out focus days where you really focus on something you want to do. Now that could be, meeting with somebody. It could be hopping on the Pacific Crest Trail. It could be your work. And then also having a buffer day or two where you have your meetings and you're kind of taking care of business. I found this to be a very helpful way to slow down my burn rate and to really focus on, okay, these are the days I'm available to others. These are the days I'm totally focused on my book or, whatever it is that I have coming up next. And these are the days that I'm just really free to do something super fun. And ideally you want the focus days after the free days. So that's my next tip.
Go Dan. Okay, I'm gonna go Taoist monk a little bit here because I think that because I can't not, right, and on this topic is this is a time of introspection, right? When you go into the holidays, when the ultimate yin expression is there and the energy of the universe is starting to heat back up, but you're at that kernel of deep winter and life is slower and less loud. And what happens is we don't give ourselves that time. And so we get into this kind of panic mode where we have all this undigested thought. We have all this undigested emotion that we needed to chew on, and we didn't give ourselves that time. And in the old days, you get in the car or the train, you just sit there and you'd think and you'd work through stuff. Now it's like, who do I call? What app can I play with? And so there's no downtime. And that downtime is psychologically incredibly important, right? And I just had this with my wife actually, and we had this moment where I'm flexing on boundaries because, as I've been watching a movie and all this stuff, and I'm just really just pushing that envelope, and I'm good with my time management, but it's been rough, it's been a lot of work. And so I said, this is happening, and Abel and Allison are going to be here, so Wednesday I'm finally going to take a break and go to the spa. And she's like, oh well, if that's the case, then you know what, Wednesday, how about you come over here and let me take that time and you do this and this and this and this because I need you for this, and then maybe you could do that on Friday. And I was like, I feel suffocated right now. Right? I can't, it's the winter. I'm telling you I need to stop and breathe for a second, and you tried to take that from me. And so we got into this, and I let her know why that was so suffocating. She said, sorry, go catch your breath, do what you got to do. But if I didn't say no, if I didn't stop and check in with myself and say, why did that really irk me? And kept going and let her take my time into that thing or whatever the things are, they just suck the time right out of you. You end up walking into mid-January going, man, I got all these goals and I don't even have the energy to like open my eyes, and now I got to like order another crate of coffee. So take the time to figure out who you are and what your priorities are in this season, or else you're never going to get there.
That's such a good one. I really appreciate you bringing in your wife, because I feel like, the sacred warriorship of marriage is unlike any other crucible. It is this mirror that just really shows us where we need to speak up for ourselves and to do it in a gentle, kind way, which I'm sure you did, Pedram.
Yeah, I've gotten way good at that.
Right on. Yeah, so I'm going to get really practical here for a moment
Yeah.
and go back to those holiday parties that we're all pulled toward and talk about hydration. I feel like we tend to run at this pace, this burn rate, as you described, from one holiday party to the next. And first thing we do is like get a drink. And I think it can be such a pattern interrupt to just opt for the filtered water or the sparkling water when you go to a party and drink that first. Like really honor your body, honor that need for fluids that I think we tend to steamroll over. And it's also going to help you cut back on how much you're consuming, how much alcohol you're making your poor liver kind of adjust to. I really think of the holidays as this time where we tend to drink a little more, and I want to do whatever we can to help out the liver.
Love that. I'm going to jump on that and take it in a slightly different direction just because I'm feeling punchy today.
I love it.
I think that, there's this huge dialogue right now happening around bullying with our children in schools, right? And how bad it is and how many, how just it's an epidemic, right? Kids are bullying kids. But I think the part of that story that people are missing is that adults are bullying adults every single day. So you go to a holiday party and someone's like, here's some pumpkin pie, or like, well, does that have, dairy in it? And they're like, yeah, stop being such a sissy. It's the holidays, right? And so this happens every single day during the holidays, is like, come on, it's Christmas, and so it's like, hey, you're right, it's Christmas. I should just do something that hurts my body, right? And we fall into it because we feel like we don't want to be like all prissy. And we cave into holiday peer pressure. What part of the holidays? I mean, I don't think Jesus wrote about, taking something that hurts you in honor of his birthday. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the entire thing has nothing to do with the holiday at all. And it's just about group stupidity if you fall into it. So like I have Abel and Allison here for Thanksgiving, and we're making gluten-free, dairy-free pumpkin pies made with duck eggs, so I could eat them too. And our guests are going to have choices of what they can take. And it's like, here we have healthy alternatives, and the holidays are about enjoying time together, not saying, okay, well, I'm just going to like forego and be stupid because everyone here is going to laugh at me. So like, just look at the bullying in your life this holiday season and reject it. Just be like, no, that's silly. That's going to hurt me. Why would I do that?
Oh, that's such a good one. It's such a good one. Yeah, I feel like bullying is so much on the radar, and we need to develop kind of that sensitivity to how we experience it as adults. So I really appreciate that one. Thank you. So I feel like we should maybe wrap this up. And I also love it when we have an odd number of hacks that we offer to people. And, for me, I've got older kids than you do, and the holidays are a lot about kind of finishing up school, finishing up the first trimester or semester, and then having this time together as a family before we start again in January. And I've tried to, I've sort of learned this over the years, to change my pace, my work pace, so that it lines up with my children. And instead of, what I used to do when I was younger and my kids were younger, is I would find these camps for them to do over winter break, where I basically was outsourcing, the time with them during the day, and then I would spend time with them in the afternoon and evening. But I don't do that anymore. Like, I really want to be off the grid and totally available to them, kind of stepping up to my role as a mother, and just really showing up for them. So I wanted to offer that as a last hack, to really show up for your family in a way that is maybe different than the rest of the year.
I love that. And I'm really happy you brought that up, because, we feel like we can reconcile the time away from our kids in like a week in Maui or going camping on a whatever. And it's not. I mean, there's a lot of time that we've been away. You and I have talked about this. I had a day where my wife had to leave, and I got quote unquote stuck with the baby, and I was trying to like work, and he kept trying to get my attention, and I was getting all pissy and annoyed. And then I was like, what's wrong with this kid? And I looked at him, he's like, oh, he's just trying to connect with me. Shame on me. Closed the laptop, pushed the phone away, and was just like, I will not be that dad, right? And so, you got to catch yourself in those moments with these precious lives that are looking to us for inspiration and love and all that, and be like, how much time have I spent connecting with them instead of getting torn into the whitewater of my life? And you and I are really busy people, so it's a big challenge. It really is. And so for our listeners, think about how much you're doing that in your life, and think about the people in your life, and think about how much love you can pour into the soil of those relationships and water this holiday season, and make the holidays special again, and make it about love and family and connection and friends, and not all the other nonsense that's tried to intercept the spirit of it.
Beautiful. Pedram, thank you. I feel like I got some really good tips from you. I got some hacks.
I got some hacks from you.
Side.
We go back. It's funny. Sarah keeps trying to like bring structure to things, and I'm such a sloppy mess with. I'm like, what number hack are we on? I don't even know.
Well, you're so fun to riff with.
We riff.
That is for sure.
So riff.
Everybody, I hope these hacks have been of service to you. That's what we want the most. This is listener-driven radio. We so want to hear from you. So go to facebook.com/The Health Bridge to let us know what you think. Maybe add to the list of hacks.
Love it. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays, everyone. Bye.